Canadians are cutting back on eating out and restaurants are feeling it. A new study suggests thousands of restaurants could close in 2026. CTV's Travis Fortnum at the local implications of this. And Travis, you spoke with a local eatery that says business has been cut in half.
That's right. At Friday's Fish and Chips, regulars who once filled the dining room are coming in less often as people tighten their spending. They say a Friday night used to be packed, but these days the place is largely half full. At Friday's Fish and Chips, the whole restaurant's filled with the delicious smell of fresh fried fish, the sound of fries sizzling in the fryers, but what it's not filled with these days is customers.
We've seen about a 50% decline in the last 3 months.
Owner Steve Crawford says things have been majorly slowing down as folks tighten their budgets more and more, with tough economic times forcing families to cut back on discretionary spending like eating out. He says even he's not dining out as much.
It's tough out here.
Crawford and his patrons aren't struggling alone. A new study out of Dalhousie University projects more than 4,000 restaurants could close across Canada this year, with 7,000 already shutting their doors in 2025.
And what we're seeing right now are consumers under tremendous financial pressure. They're having a hard time buying food at the grocery store, so they're not spending as much time in food service.
And those food costs are going up for restaurants too. So are rent and insurance. Restaurants Canada says 41% of restaurants are operating at a loss or barely breaking even, but are keeping prices low because they know customers are budgeting.
We've cut the profits in order to keep the business going.
Crawford says prices at Fridays have only gone up once in the past 3 years, despite those costs still climbing.
Retirement fund keeps going down, so we're at with that.
For Crawford, the strain shows up most clearly during what used to be their busiest hours. He says Friday dinner rushes once meant a packed dining room, a sure sign the night was going to be a good one.
Completely full, yeah.
And now, like at its busiest, what is it?
All cultures do this, but I know for one, in the Caribbean culture, you cook dinner throughout the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But when Friday came, Friday was like no cook day. And that meant that you either are eating leftovers or you're taking out. The family goes and buys something to eat. You know, every takeout place you went to, place was packed. Why? Because it's just Friday, that's how it was. Friday is takeout day. But it's sad now because you've seen the stats. They said they're expecting 4,000 restaurants to close down this year, and 7,000 closed down in Canada last year. And 41% of restaurants were just breaking even or losing money. And of course, this all goes back to inflation. It's even changed my perspective now, where even when I used to do get takeout food, and you see that percentage of, oh, do you want to give a tip? Me, I always had this theory. When it comes to takeout, I'm walking up to your counter and I'm ordering foods. Where's the gratuity? I find gratuity more when I'm sitting down and dining in, or I'm getting food delivered to me, where in both situations it takes less effort on my part. Takeout usually means you're doing more of your part too, because you're actually driving up to the place and getting food. But anyway, this is more leaning me towards not so much paying that thing like debit, but even having more cash on me, so even I can, tip the server or whatever. But times are tough. Times are tough. Recent economic studies showing that the number one stress this year in 2026 isn't housing prices, isn't real estate, it's groceries. And I think that's mostly among Gen Zs and boomers and millennials. For Gen Zs, actually, the biggest stress is more real estate, because they're concerned about being able to buy a home, and which is totally understandable. But yeah, food. Since when have we gotten to the point now where food is the number one stress in our lives, over real estate, over investments, over life insurance, over all that stuff? Food, groceries. And because groceries are expensive, it's limiting our takeout. It's limiting going to dine in at restaurants. I grew up in a time where even when we wanted to go out for pizza and there were less pizza deliveries, we went out. Like, Pizza Hut was a thing back then. We went and we sat down and we had pizza. And when nowadays you see Pizza Hut's become a takeout place more than a dine-in place because less people are dining in, It's crazy. I don't know what's gonna end up with this crisis. I don't know how things are gonna get better for the restaurant industry. You could say we don't need restaurants, but we do need restaurants. We do need that. Restaurants are an escape for us sometimes because it's like, okay, I still look at restaurants as a treat, not just a place where I'm just going to get food. I always look at it as it's a blessing to be able to go out and order food and have someone else prepare for you and stuff. But it's crazy. Like, what can we do to keep these restaurants afloat? What can restaurants do to keep themselves afloat? How can we beat this inflation? I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there, but I want to know your thoughts. Is there any hope for the restaurant industry? Let me know what you think. Like, share, and subscribe to Born with Purpose. I'm your host, abnerbourne. And until the next video, God bless. I'm out. Peace.